What is going on, everyone? Hope everyone is having a phenomenal day. Let me know where you're tuning in from, city, state, if you are in Louisville or if you are in Kentucky. Definitely chime in. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're tuning in from outside the country, let me know what country, region, province you are tuning in from. We're going to talk about the Breonna Taylor case today, and we are going to put some facts out there. As many of you know, I like to keep it clean and right down the middle, right? Just like a fastball right down the middle of the plate. We try to keep the politics out of it, and we are going to just keep the facts of the case. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about some of the facts that are now out that people are just simply refusing to believe. So let's get into it. The Breonna Taylor case. So the judgment just came out that only the one officer is being charged in the case, a grand jury. And the one officer, what he's being charged with, essentially, for those of you who don't know the legal lingo or the legal charges, is essentially firing his weapon in a reckless manner, endangering others, okay, for the manner in which he fired his weapon, okay? There's so many facts here that I had to take notes, so I am going to be referencing my notes here. But if you are someone who is looking at this case or maybe haven't been following this case and you're looking for some facts, we're going to break down the facts. Now, this is going to be completely devoid of my opinion. And I'm doing that on purpose because in situations like this, emotion and opinion needs to be removed. If you are continuing to look at something like this with an elevated emotion and your personal opinions and your personal biases, you're not doing anyone justice, especially you're not doing yourself justice, okay? So, people have been messaging me right and left. I've had a crazy few days, but we've had some new product launches with 221B Tactical, body armor for civilians, and a whole bunch of other stuff, okay? So, we have been busy, but I wanted to address this because so many people have reached out, and I want to address some of the things that some of these celebrities have said. Now, you guys know my take on what celebrities and athletes say about cases involving police things because they were never a police officer, okay? I was a police officer for 13 years. And as you can tell by the color of my skin, I spent my time as an officer with a different set of eyes with regard to what is happening today involving people of color, okay? So the first thing that I want to let everyone know, the first fact that people are still putting out there as truth that is completely 100% false, and this has been verified 100 times by 100 different people, okay? Before I start, let me say this. At the end of this, a young woman lost her life, okay? And I don't care who you are, what color your skin is, where you're from, a young woman lost her life. There are people who are saying, well, she was involved with the wrong people, you lay with dogs, you're going to get fleas. Right, okay, we've all heard that. Our mothers have told us that, right? That if you hang out with the wrong people, you're going to get caught up in their garbage. And there will be consequences, all right? My mother told me that since I was single digits in age. And she was right, she wasn't wrong, okay? That aside, a young woman, despite her decisions, despite the company she kept, okay? She lost her life. So, first and foremost, may she rest in peace and may her family have peace. Okay? Because nobody wants to lose a child. okay? That being said, let us go into some of the facts. Once again, not my opinion. Not my opinion biased by me being a police officer. Not my biased opinion because of the color of my skin and what I've dealt with as far as racism from the police and from regular civilians, all right? Fellow Americans, right? We are just going to talk about the facts, and I'm going to put all my emotion aside. First thing that people are still saying that is 100% factually incorrect is Breonna Taylor was in bed when she was shot by the police, okay? That was, and that is 100% false. Now, once again, this isn't my opinion. This is all documented. The paperwork has been released. It's all out there. Just go to Google, okay? You could see it. It's all out there. She was shot in the hallway, okay? You have to excuse me. My allergies are killing me today. It's not corona. So, she was shot in the hallway with her boyfriend, okay? Fact, undisputable fact. Now, someone sent me like a tweet or something, Instagram post by George Clooney, the actor, George Clooney. I like George Clooney, right? I like George Clooney. He's a good actor, right? Great actor. And George Clooney, literally, like, within the last day, said that Breonna Taylor was shot and killed while sleeping in bed. Has this guy not watched the news? Has he not read a single article written by people on both sides of the table, right? The table, right? The left and the right, the pro-cop and the anti-cop, right? The black attorney general. All of it has said without any kind of doubt that she was unequivocally not in bed. She was in the hallway where she was shot, okay? How are people like George Clooney? You see, you lose credibility when you start pushing a narrative that even people on the right side of the equation or your side know is false, okay? Because I know people personally who are mad as hell about the Breonna Taylor shooting, and yet they even say, well, she was shot in the hallway, right? She was shot in the hallway. Her boyfriend was in the hallway with her. The police came in, the boyfriend shot, right? The police shot back, and they shot and killed her in the hallway. She was found in the hallway. Undisputed. So why are people like George Clooney still saying she was shot and killed while sleeping in bed? Like, you just lose all credibility. If you want to support Breonna Taylor and you want to do it from a place of sincerity, talk about the facts of the case that you find disturbing that are actually facts, that are real. I like you, George Clooney, but I can't take you serious, and you don't help the case at all when you are still, after all the evidence is out, supported by black and white people, you're still saying she was asleep in bed and was shot in bed. Okay, do you think people don't have Google? Do you think people, like, aren't reading? Do you think by saying she was shot and killed in bed, it somehow is going to make things different or better or work? Like, what are you doing? Why are you just purporting a full-out lie? Doesn't make sense, okay? So, the other thing is a lot of people are confusing her boyfriend and calling Breonna Taylor's boyfriend a drug dealer, okay? Was he involved with drugs? We don't know. But right now, the evidence and the facts, and there is a whole report on it, point to the fact that it wasn't her boyfriend that was in the apartment that night and that shot at the police. Yet it was another. So let's not put blame on the boyfriend and call him a drug dealer and he was the drug dealer that the cops are coming after. No, that is false. Okay? Let me make it clear. Once again, no opinion, just fact. Miss Taylor's boyfriend was a gentleman by the name of Kenneth Walker. The man who is the drug dealer and has a drug history that Miss Taylor was still heavily involved with, and she was being followed by the police, and there's a history with her involved with this gentleman who was a drug dealer going back to 2016. That gentleman's name was Jamarcus Glover. A lot of people are confusing Jamarcus Glover, drug dealer, convicted felon, with Mr. Walker, Kenneth Walker, who is her boyfriend, okay? Let's not do that. It's not fair to Mr. Walker. Yes, he shot the cops, okay? We're going to get into that in a second. He shot at the police, okay? We're not going to talk about why he did, because we're not going to talk about that. He shot the police, but he was not the drug dealer they were after, okay? He was the boyfriend. He was in the house with Miss Taylor, okay? He's not the drug dealer, okay? Mr. Glover is a drug dealer. Now, yes, we're going to put some more facts out there. And I got my information from this from the Tatum Report, thetatumreport.com. The Officer Tatum, okay? He has a website where he has the actual police report. It's like many, many pages. Photos of Breonna Taylor's car when they were following her. Her interactions with this gentleman who was a drug dealer. Okay? So you could see it all. It's all documented there. So there's no mystery. She unfortunately made the poor decision to be involved with this gentleman with a serious drug dealing history. Okay? We're not going to sit there and point the finger, right? No one's perfect. All right? No one's Jesus Christ. Everyone, throw the first stone. He without sin. She was involved with the guy who was in the drug game. Okay? She was holding money for him. She was doing other things for him. She was moving some stuff for him. Okay? She was involved with a drug dealer. Bad idea, but it is what it is. And there's no question about that. People are saying, oh, she was an innocent EMT. First of all, she used to be an EMT, and I think she was working as like a nurse's assistant when this happened, okay? Everyone's putting the EMT photo out there, but apparently she hadn't been an EMT for quite some time. In fact, she upgraded from an EMT, if you would, and was now in the nursing domain. So this is a young woman who maybe started out as an EMT and was trying to be on the path to become a nurse. That is awesome. My mother was a nurse. Nurses are phenomenal, phenomenal contributors to our society, okay? So she was trying to become a nurse. She was a nurse assistant or something like that. Actually, I read in 2 different hospitals, okay? So that is fact. EMT, not a fact. She used to be. Nursing assistant of some sort is a fact. That's confirmed, okay? What else is confirmed? She was running with a drug dealer and a felon, okay? There's phone calls between her and the gentleman that was in prison, Mr. Glover, the drug dealer, not Mr. Walker, the boyfriend, okay? So, the other fact that we're going to talk about is the fact that her boyfriend, Mr. Walker, shot at the police, okay? He shot at the police first. There's some people who were like, wait, hold on a second. The police came in guns blazing. That is false. Once again, this is all backed up by evidence, documentation, you name it. There's 100 different things out there, okay? He fired the first shot at police, and he actually hit the police officer in the upper leg, in the thigh, okay? He fired 1 shot, and he hit the police officer, okay? The other thing that is factual that people are mixing up or choosing not to believe is that it was a no-knock warrant and the police just busted in the door, okay? That has now been completely debunked. And it has been debunked by a black eyewitness, okay? So here's what factually happened, and no one can deny this. If you deny this, you are literally not believing the people who were there. So unless you were there and you want to dispute this, fine. But apparently, people who were the neighbors of Miss Taylor heard the police banging on the door, okay? Identifying, saying, police. They were banging on the door and yelling police to the point where a neighbor came out and said, hey, what the hell is going on here? And the police officer said, get back into your apartment. Nothing to see here. Get back into your apartment. Get out of here. That, although the piece of paper they had was a no-knock warrant, okay? A no-knock warrant, for those people who don't know, is pretty self-explanatory, okay? You need to list in great detail to a superior court judge, all right? You have to draw up an affidavit, okay? And you have to present it to a superior court judge. This superior court judge has to go through it, and it is detailed as all heck. And a superior court judge has to go through it and approve no-knock or knock warrant, okay? Here's the difference. It's pretty self-explanatory. If the police are asking the judge for a no-knock warrant, they have to articulate that knocking and alerting the people inside the residence could lead to destruction of evidence and things that could hurt their case against the person, okay? And they felt that that was a potential threat with Breonna Taylor. Now, let me pause here. There are people who are saying that the police were at the wrong apartment, the wrong house. That is 100% wrong. That has been completely disputed, okay? All right? The police, the warrant, the picture of the warrant is online. Google it. You could see the warrant. Go to the Tatum report. You could see the warrant. No-knock warrant for that address. Okay? They had been following Breonna Taylor. They knew she was involved with the felon drug dealer, not her boyfriend, okay? They were at the right place. They were not. Now, were they also, was a search warrant also served on the drug dealing former acquaintance, the guy that she was still involved with? Or I don't know if he was an ex-boyfriend. Were they still? Yes, Mr. Glover, the drug dealer. Yes. Yes, so there's some people who are saying Mr. Glover was already in custody when they went to Breonna Taylor's apartment. Yes, that's true. But they weren't at Breonna Taylor's apartment looking for Mr. Glover. Okay? They were there to execute a search warrant on that premises. On that premises, it was on paper. It is in black and white. I didn't believe it at first either. And then I saw the search warrant signed by the judge that said that they were granted permission to do a no-knock warrant at the home of Breonna Taylor. That address, exactly that address. It's on Google. Go ahead and Google it. Okay? So there was no mix-up. They weren't at the wrong apartment. All right? Another false statement that's been put out there. Okay? It's on black and white. The search warrant. They wanted a no-knock warrant, so no evidence was destroyed. Okay? A judge you need to really make a strong case to a judge in a search warrant for you asking for a no-knock warrant, for that judge to approve a no-knock warrant. No-knock warrants are like so hard to get. All right? In some states, they're not allowed. Apparently in Kentucky, they are allowed. However, they're very, very difficult because, as you can imagine, that is a massive invasion of privacy to literally give the stamp of approval to send the police to a house. No need to knock on the door. The police just show up and bang down the door and go inside. And they start looking for evidence and start trying to acquire evidence for their case. Major invasion. So for a judge to approve a no-knock warrant, they must have had quite a bit of evidence against Miss Taylor and her associates. And you can read the search warrant online, okay? It's there for you. A knock warrant means that the judge, or a regular warrant, a search warrant, a standard, not a no-knock, a standard warrant, is the judge issues the warrant and you go there and you have to, on the door, and say, you know, police, Louisville police, whatever, search warrant, open the door. And they have to open the door, okay? If they don't open the door, you have the grounds to enter the premises, okay? You have a search warrant. Police, search warrant, open the door. They don't open the door, you go in. So now, in this situation, the witness in the apartment next door said they heard the police banging. Police, open up, search warrant. To the point where they woke up and came out and said, what the hell's going on here? And the police said, get back in. So for all those people who are saying the police didn't announce themselves, that's all now been debunked. It's all out, public record. They did knock. They did announce themselves. Confirmed by the black man who is the Attorney General. Mr. Cameron, I believe his name is. Yeah, Daniel Cameron. Okay? It's all confirmed. It's all there. All the eyewitness testimony is out there. Okay? Everyone put their testimony out there. Black people, Hispanic people, white, everyone involved, right? Yep, the police were there. They were banging on the door. They announced themselves, okay? They announce themselves. They're banging on the door. They blow in the door after no response. And they're met with gunfire by the boyfriend, okay? Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker fires one shot, and the police fire back. Somehow, although Mr. Walker and Miss Taylor were in the hallway together, somehow Mr. Walker, I don't know, maybe dove out of the way, jumped out of the way, jumped on the ground, I don't know. But he didn't get shot with a single bullet, and Miss Taylor got shot with, I believe, 6 bullets, okay? I was told 30 rounds were fired. I'm not sure if that's confirmed, but 30 rounds were fired. She was hit with 6 of them, okay? How he did not get hit is beyond me. But you can imagine if 2 people are in a hallway, 2 people that were probably in bed, right, sleeping next to each other. They heard bang, bang, bang on the door from the police. They got up. They both got up. Like, what's that? Okay. They heard he grabbed his gun. They both went out into the hallway. The door bangs open from the police. He shoots. They shoot back. They're both in the hallway. Somehow he must have dove out of the way or fell, whatever. And he didn't get hit with a single shot. And his girlfriend got 6 rounds. Okay? That's what happened. So now, there's no disputing that's what happened, because now it's all out there. All the evidence is out there. All the testimony's out there. So for the people who said they didn't say they were the police, they didn't announce themselves, well, how the heck did other people hear it? Okay? Clearly they did. Now it's out there. They announced themselves to the point where they literally woke the neighbors. Okay? Now, for the people who are saying that Mr. Walker thought someone was breaking into the apartment, okay? Who knocks before let's pause for a second. And now let's just ask a question. What kind of intruder bangs on your door before they break your door down and enter your home? Do we know? Has that ever, does that happen? Typically, if there's like a home invasion and people are going to come in, break down your door, tie you up, take your cash, take your jewelry, take your everything, right? They're not knocking on the door. They're breaking in, okay? So some people have said that, and I kind of agree with that. Most people who are bad guys don't knock, right? Okay. So the other thing that some people of color have said, those people who live in inner cities, in these areas where, sadly, having the police come and barge in is something that is seen often. They know when the police are at the door, right? People have seen it, people have heard it, people have seen it across the street, they've seen it happen next door. When the police come, bang, 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 police open up, search warrant, bang, blow the door, right? People have seen it. We've seen it on TV, okay? We've seen it on live PD, we've seen it on cops. We know how it goes. And people who live in those areas, they know how it goes too, because they see it way too often. Sadly, little kids are seeing it way too often. They know that people who are coming in to rob you don't knock. Okay. That being said, let's continue. So the police knocked, shot in the hallway. Okay. People were saying that this was something that is crooked because it was the police investigating the police. I don't know who you want to investigate this if you don't want it investigated properly. Do you want to let regular civilians who've never investigated a thing in their life investigate the shooting and killing of a young woman? No. You let the State Bureau of Investigations, the FBI, the Attorney General, right? The top cop, who happens to be a black man, leading the investigation, who's going by the facts, right? But of course, in this day and age, if you are a black man that in some way, shape, or form doesn't conform to what this certain group of people want, you are automatically a racist. It can't be that you're just speaking the facts and going by the letter of the law and going by the evidence. He must be a racist. He's a cop too. He's essentially a cop, and he's on the cop side. This black man, he's racist, right? Charles Barkley. I don't like talking about athletes, right? Because when LeBron James talks, people are like, it's LeBron James. What's does he care, right? So let's not say, well, Charles Barkley talks on this side of the table, we should all listen to him. But Charles Barkley said, listen, it's tragic what happened to Breonna Taylor. Tragic. However, this was caused by her association with a felon, a drug dealer. Had Miss Taylor not been associated and been followed and had a ton of evidence against her by the police for her associations, recorded phone calls, she was tied up with a drug dealer, a bad dude. And she said had she not been involved with that, she'd most likely be alive. Because the police don't kick in the door of people who aren't involved with drug dealers or aren't involved in serious crime. And he's not wrong on that. The police don't, at 0:30, come bang on your door, say police search warrant, and blow your front door down when you are just a completely innocent person that has committed no crime. That's not a commonplace. Has it maybe happened by mistake at some point somewhere? Maybe, okay? Maybe it's happened by mistake somewhere at some point in history. I'm sure it's happened. But in this case, it was valid. She was involved with a drug dealer. So what Charles Barkley said wasn't wrong. It's a tragedy what happened to her. But her association with this drug dealer and her choices to be involved with this drug dealer for 4 years led to this. And he's not wrong. And people are mad at him. And people, black people, are saying, oh, Charles Barkley, he's not black, he's this, he's a racist, he's this. Why? Why? Well, did he say anything that's wrong? He didn't say she deserved to die. He said it's a tragedy. He didn't say she deserved it. He said it's a tragedy. And this surely wouldn't have happened if she was not involved with such a man. And he's not wrong. No one can dispute that. Okay? So, I have my thoughts about Charles Barkley, and I'm going to leave that out because we're leaving my opinions out. But with what he said in this case, he's not wrong. Okay. So, let's go to the charge. I mentioned briefly of the 3 officers, 1 was charged, the 2 others were not. And the one that was charged was not charged for shooting Miss Taylor. He was charged for recklessly shooting and endangering others, specifically the people in adjacent apartments, okay? So police officers have to be responsible for every bullet they fire, okay? And long and short of it, you guys can read the charge online. Once again, it's on Google. Go look it up, educate yourself. But the long and short of it, from my police putting it in layman's terms, is he was shooting recklessly. And he didn't shoot responsibly, and he didn't take into consideration those around him. So that's what he's being charged with, okay? That reckless endangerment, okay? So that's the one thing. Now, a lot of people have had questions that asked me, so I'm referencing my notes here. And people are saying, okay, what do you think about the protest, okay? What do you think about the protest? And I'll end on this. The protesters and the rioters don't care about the facts, okay? That is clear. That's not my opinion. It is clear that the rioters and the protesters, they don't care about the facts and the evidence in the case. The facts and the evidence are now out there, and they are still burning things and rioting. 2 Louisville police officers shot. Now, what's funny is that not many people were told, because it was not in the news. I didn't even know. I didn't even know this, right? I didn't even know this because it wasn't in the news. One of the officers in Louisville that was shot was a black man, a black police officer. Now, I did not see that on any news network, and obviously, everyone is sending me everything, and I've been monitoring this story. And I had no idea. Finally, a black man, a black police officer, sent me a message and said, just so you know, please pray for this officer. And he sent me a picture of a black man, and then he sent me a picture of a black woman who was being consoled by a white police officer with some little kids. And I said, who is this? And he said, oh, that was one of the officers that was shot in Louisville. I said, wait a second. I don't know. Shame on me. I just assumed that the 2 officers that were shot by the black man were white officers, right? So shame on me, right? It wasn't talked about in the news. They just said 2 Louisville police officers were shot during the riots, and they had a black man under arrest. And I said, man, I hope those officers are okay. I'm glad they got the guy. Not one news outlet did I see report that actually one of the officers was a black man. Why is that? I found that odd. Did you know that? Did you know that one of the officers shot was black? I did. I didn't see it anywhere, okay? So someone asked me this question. They said, What would happen if, so the rioters, they clearly, they're not concerned with the facts and the evidence. They're angry. They have an agenda. They don't care about anything, okay? They don't care. They clearly don't care. They're angry, they're emotional, and they're going after property and looting and burning and harassing people that are eating in restaurants and all this stuff because they're just angry. They don't care about the facts that the law was followed and the police were shot at first, right? The police lawfully, by law, lawfully entered that apartment. It's all out there. And they were shot at. Even after announcing themselves, they were shot at unlawfully. They were shot at unlawfully. Okay? And they returned fire. And that's what led to Miss Taylor's death, sadly. They don't care. They don't care that she was involved with the drug game. They don't care that she was not a squeaky clean, upstanding citizen, which, once again, not everyone is perfect, right? But they don't care about that stuff. It's sad. What they also don't care about, and one person wrote, was they clearly don't care about the truly innocent people, black people that are killed in these cities. Truly innocent. They don't care. They care about the young black woman who was involved in the drug game that was shot during the execution of a search warrant. But they don't care about the 1-year-old that was shot in the head by gang violence. They don't care about the 7-year-old who was shot in the head by gang violence. They don't care about the young girl who was shot in the drive-by shooting. They don't care about that. And that's true. And no one can dispute that because no one is rioting and burning anything down in the name of those children that were innocently shot and killed. No one is. No one is. I haven't seen anyone hold up the sign saying, say his name, say her name, and have the name of one of those children on the poster. I have not seen one NFL player have the name of one of these children, like Zamar Jones, 7-year-old boy shot in the head while playing with toys in front of his house. Nothing was done. No one, no press, no nothing. As you all know, I started the GoFundMe personally. We raised over $70,000. Got the money to his mother. I had to do that. LeBron James, George Clooney, Alyssa Milano, nobody said a word. No football players, no one said a word. Me, a nobody. Some nobody had to go and start the GoFundMe and promote it on social media. With what following do I have? Pretty much nobody. Imagine if LeBron James promoted the GoFundMe that I started for Zamar Jones. Imagine the check that his mother would have gotten. I know it doesn't replace her son, but imagine that. Imagine if George Clooney went on his social media and said, this 7-year-old boy was shot by 3 black men shooting each other in the street. Let's do the right thing for his mother. Imagine if one NFL football player on Sunday put the name Zamar Jones on the back of his helmet, on the side of his cleats, on the back of his jersey. Imagine the check that I would have been able to hand his mother. Zamar Jones was 7 years old. He never committed a crime in his life. In fact, he was the one in his neighborhood that helped all the elderly people. Zamar Jones was playing with toys on his front stoop, innocently, when he was shot in the head. His name was not on any sign saying, say his name, anywhere. He didn't have a gold casket. He didn't have $1 million funeral. He didn't have $20 million in his GoFundMe. Criminals with criminal history who break the law or are involved with drug dealers or involved with bad people or involved with bad things. Once again, no one's perfect, but listen, let the facts are a fact. They're involved with bad people. They're involved with bad things. Drugs, crime, whatever. They get killed by the police during a search warrant, and it's burn it down. Little children get killed by gang violence, and it's nothing. These people, they get millions. Millions. Attorneys jumping out of the woodwork to come defend the family for a paycheck. Where are those attorneys? The Ben Crumps. Where are they when these little kids get shot? You know why they're not there? Because there's no money in that case. There's no money in the case of a young black child executed in an alley in Chicago. There's no money with a 9-year-old black girl killed while doing homework in her living room. There's no money in those cases. Celebrities, they don't talk about those cases. Why? Because it wouldn't do anything for their likes and followers. But if they hop on the bandwagon of the hot story that involves the police, well, then that's going to help move the needle on their worth, right? Mind you, they're doing this from their mansions with private security. Alyssa Milano, defund the police, called the police and had a boatload of police officers swarming her neighborhood when she saw a young boy with a rifle. Police came out in droves, shut down the neighborhood, located the boy with the rifle. She called 911 so fast people's heads spun. Yet just hours prior, she was tweeting out, defund the police. It was a young man hunting squirrels with a BB gun. But she surely loved the police in that moment and praised them for their fast response and their swift action. But literally hours before, she was tweeting out, defund the police. People, I did a video on gaslighting, and I explained what gaslighting is. Where you're being fed information to believe one thing, but the reality is it's something completely different. So you can watch that video on gaslighting, okay? Completely different. And all I ask is, no matter who you are, don't say, I'm on this side, so I got to believe everything this side says, or I'm on this side, so I got to believe everything this side said. Say, you know what? I'm an independent American human being, and I am going to look at the facts and believe what I see in front of me. That is fact. That is fact. I'm going to use my brain, all right? I'm not going to say, well, I'm a Democrat and I'm black, so I just got to believe whatever these people over here say. Or I'm a Republican and Trump 2020, and I got to believe everything that they say over here. I'm a Democrat, I'm a liberal, so I got to watch CNN and I can never watch Fox News. Or I just got to watch CNN. And I'm a staunch Republican and, you know, America, all this stuff. And the only news I can watch is Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. They're all evil. They're all liars, okay? You do that, you're never going to get anywhere. You're just going to become a sheep and just go along with the herd. And you'll never be an independent, reasonable thinking, common sense using human being. So that's all I ask. You guys see that I keep it right in the middle here? I put everything from my past, and some of you know, my past, I have every right to hate the police. I have every right to hate all white people. I have everything, right? If I put all that aside, and I say, let's look at the facts on paper, in black and white, and let's make a reasonable assessment. Black people need to wake up, and these white people that are burning down the black cities, they should be ashamed of themselves. All these white people flying in, but getting bussed in, burning down black neighborhoods. Black people should wake up and see what the hell's happening, okay? Because we all see on the news who's doing the burning and throwing all the bricks and throwing the Molotov cocktails. We all see that, right? So be mindful of that. Wake up. Look at what's happening around you and look at who's doing it, okay? And make a decision. Make an educated decision on what you're going to believe. And base it on facts, not on whether you're on the right wing or the left wing, okay? Same airplane. Same airplane. Got it? All right. Now, one thing someone said was, listen, what would happen if white people started responding in kind every time a black man murdered an innocent white person? That would be a scary, scary time in this country. And I never want to see that, right? Because it would lead to a bloodbath. It would lead to a very bad place, right? Because the facts show, and we all know this, there are more innocent white people killed by black people, specifically black men between certain age range, right? It's all the FBI statistics are there. Way more than black people are killed by white police officers. Of course, I know no black people don't say anything when a black cop kills a black man, right? Happened a couple of weeks ago. I reported it. No one heard it. Nobody even heard about it. The officer reached out to me and said, thank you for talking about my case. No one talked about the black officer shooting the black man. No one talked about it. There was no riot. There was no nothing. No one talked about it. Why were black people not enraged and burning things down when that black officer killed that black man? Why was that? Why were there no U-Haul trucks loaded with shields and helmets and batons pulling up for that? Nothing. Why is that? Do we know? Use your head and ask yourself, why were there no black people rioting, protesting, no swarms of white people wearing all black, right? Pulling up in trucks, burning shit down? Sorry for the curse. No, it's a family-oriented show. Why? Why? Nothing? Ask yourself that question. Now, to the other question. What would happen if white people started burning things down in black neighborhoods and doing awful things to black people every time a black man killed an innocent white person? Well, it would just be complete chaos. The whole world would be on fire. Because the stats show that happens at an alarming rate. Sadly, that happens at an alarming rate. And if we ever got to the point where white people started responding with violence every time a black person killed a white person, we would be going down a very, very scary path. Okay? Very scary. So, this is a warning to everyone. Be very careful how you're acting right now. Be very careful. Because the tide always turns. But if this tide ever turns, it is going to lead us down a dangerous and deadly and ugly road. A road that I don't want to see. One, because I don't want to see it as an American. But two, I don't want to see it because obviously you guys see the color of my skin. And if white people start saying, listen, we're just going after all black people. Another black man killed an innocent white girl. Another black man killed an innocent white man. And we're going after him. Well, hell, I'm not safe either. Because they're not going to care. Because clearly, the people right now who are rioting, they don't care who they're hurting. They're just going after the white people. Hell, they even killed a black cop. Or they tried to kill a black cop, tried to shoot him. Right? So just remember that. Think about that, okay? Think about what your actions are leading to. Think about if that day came, will you be able to say, I was not part of that? Or are you going to say, well, I was burning things down and I was rioting and I was looting and I was just angry. I was angry. I didn't care about the details of the case. It was just, F the police. I didn't care. Well, you might want to think about that. You might want to think about that in case things shift. It's not going to end well. Okay? Because there's a core group of people out there that are right now laying very low. They are highly skilled, highly trained, and they're just real quiet right now. They're really quiet. But they are ready. I've talked to many of them. And they are some scary dudes with high-level skills. Some of you might be watching this right now. And they're waiting for that tide to turn. And when that tide turns, I assure you, the punk white kids in their skinny jeans and their black masks throwing Molotov cocktails on their Razor scooters are not going to stand a chance. They won't even see it coming. So just be careful, be mindful. Listen, everyone, use your head, think for yourself. Don't have to pick a side. Be your own person, be your own man, be your own woman, and do the right thing. Don't do unto others what you don't want done to you. And look at the facts. Be reasonable. Look at the facts. Just be a reasonable human being and look at the facts. All right? Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.